Hi friends, today we are going to learn about action filters in MVC. Action filters in MVC. Action filters in ASP.MVC are type of filters that allow you to execute a custom logic before or after an action method is executed. These filters are typically used to implement tasks such as logging, input validation, performance measurement, or altering the action's result before it is returned to the client. Key points about action filters. Pre-action logic. Action filters can run custom logic before an action method executes, which is useful for validation, logging, or modifying the request. Post-action logic. They can also run logic after the action method has executed, which allows you to modify the result. Example, view or JSON data before it is returned to the client. Types of action filters in ASP.NET MVC. On action executing, this method is called before the action method is executed. You can use it to perform tasks such as input validation, logging, altering the request. On action executed. This method is called after the action method has executed, but before the result is returned. You can use it to log action execution details, modifying the results, or performing additional processing. Now, we will see common use cases for action filters. First one is logging, recording the execution of specific actions. Example, user activity, execution time. Catching, catching the result of an action to improve performance for frequently accessed data. Authentication or authorization, ensuring that the user has the necessary permission to execute an action. Performance measurement, measuring how long an action takes to execute. Error handling, handling or logging exception that occur during the action method execution. Now we'll see how to create a custom action filters in MVC. Custom action filters can be created by inheriting from the action filter attribute class and overriding the on action executing or on action executed methods. This allow you to add custom behavior before or after an action method runs. Example of creating and using a custom action filter. Creating a custom action filter. Here is an example of custom action filter that logs when an action starts and ends. See, here we have a class name called log action filter, which we have given our own, and we have inherited with action filter attribute. So in this class we have two methods. One is public override void on action executing. This will called before the method, and we have another method public override void on action execute. This called after the method executed. So in on action executing, logic before the action executed, this is called debug.writeline. We are giving our own whatever we want, like action method executing filter context dot action description action name. So we can call that action name and base its on action executing filter context. And you can see on action executed, here we can write debug.writeline our own context, whatever. This logic will execute after action execute, action method executor plus filter context dot action description action name. So these two methods are too important in action filters: on action executing, on action executed. So in this example, on action executing runs before the action method is executed. You could use it for tasks like logging, modifying the request. On action executed runs after the action method has executed but before the result is returned to the view. You could use this for post processing tasks like modifying the result or logging. Now, applying the custom action filter. You can apply the custom filter globally to specific controls or individual actions. At the action level, see, this is the action method index. We have added an attribute called log action, which we have seen just before now. And at the controller level, you can give that at the controller level, log action. Globally, so we have to configure that now, filter config dot. If you want to filter to apply globally to all controls actions in the application, you can register it in the filter config.cs file. So we have already, this is register global filters. Now here we have to add filters dot add new log action filter. Just now we have created, this is an instance. Customizing action filters logic, we can customize even that one also. In addition to logging, you could perform other tasks inside on action executing and action executed methods, such as modifying the action parameters on in action executing, redirecting the user in on action executing, modifying the result returned from the action in on action executed. For example, you can use on action executing method to perform input validation or even cancel the request if invalid data is provided. See, in on action executing method, so we are checking with the filter context action parameters. This is the data which is coming from client, and if data equal to null or string dot is null or empty, then redirect to any error page if data is invalid. So we are redirecting here. So we can perform our custom own logic also in action filters. Built-in action filters in MVC. ASP.NET MVC provides several built-in action filters that you can use in application, such as handle error. This filter is used for handling errors that occur during the execution of an action method. It can be applied to an action, controller, or globally. It catches unheld exception or redirects user to a custom error page. So we can create like this handle error above the action method. This will throw new exception, something went wrong. And validation anti-forgery token also we have. So this filter is used to protecting against cross-site request forgery. Like, see, if we want to perform Ajax calls to the ASP.NET MVC application, there is a cross-site request forgery. It validates the anti-forgery token submitted in a form request to ensure that the request came from the same user who is generated the form. So we have to create like this validation anti-forgery token, and about that this order should be mandatory. And this method submit form and process the form. And the third one is output catchy. This filter is used to catch the output of an action method for a specific duration, which helps to reduce load and improve performance for frequently accessed data. So we can create that output catchy. We have given a duration which is a 60 seconds. Okay. And this method index. Order of filter execution. So when multiple filters are applied, They execute in the following order. On, on action executing, action filters execute before an action method. Action method execution, the action method itself executes. On action executed, action filters execute after the action method completes but before the result is returned. This order allow you to execution pre-processing logic before the action and the post-processing the logic after the action. And now we'll see the summary of these action filters. Action filters in ASP.MVC allow you to run custom logic before and after an action method executes. Common uses for action filters including logging, input validation, performance measurement, caching, and error handling. You can create a custom action filters by inheriting from action filter attribute and override on execution and action executing and on action executed methods. Built-in action filters such as handle error, validate anti-forgery token, output cache provide a common functionality that can be reused across your application. Action filters can be applied to specific actions, controllers, and globally across the entire application. So, friends, this is all about action filters in ASP.NET MVC. Thank you.